Welcome to another episode of the BWP micro series, and I'm here with Apiorkor Ashong.
Yes.
Hey Apiorkor, how you
Papa.
doing?
Fine. It's been a while.
It's been a while. What's been up with you?
A lot, actually.
Wow.
Um,
Apiorkor, for the sake of our viewers, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
okay, so my full name is Apiorkor Ashong, and just to answer the question that I know a lot of people would be asking, I'm half Ga and half Ewe. My dad is from Shona, which is very close to Prom Prom. And my mom has descendancy from Peki Abitile in the Volta region. So that's why you have Apiorkor and Seram being bunched together. Having said that, I have an interesting birthday, the 1st of April, April Fool's Day. I'm 26, so I turned 26 this past April. What else do you want to know about me?
Apiorkor, why don't you, I know you were at some point teaching at Tema International School,
TIS,
and I know you were doing some really wonderful things, so why don't you tell us about that experience?
Okay, so first of all, how did I end up at TIS? I think my life has been a lot about chance and pioneership. I actually went to school, TIS. I was a pioneer, and I finished in 2007. So fast forward, my final year of undergrad, the principal of TIS at the time had come to my department at the University of Ghana English department looking for a final year English student. Now, she didn't know me because she wasn't the principal when I was there, and I knew her from afar. So she went looking for, a student and spoke to our head of department who recommended me by chance.
Wow.
So I ended up at my alma mater by chance.
Wow.
Did I want to teach? It's something that I had always thought I would do at some point in my life. I like to impart knowledge onto people. I'm not selfish with what I know or what I have. So I thought it was a great opportunity, albeit it came earlier than I had anticipated. And it was amazing. TIS runs the IGCSE, that's International General Certificate of Secondary Education, your equivalent of the British GCSE, with a more international perspective. And they also run the International Baccalaureate Diploma, which is an escalator form of your A-levels. So it's interesting teaching in that setting. We do have a lot of students who have quite affluent backgrounds. But beyond that, there are also students who find themselves there because somebody is sponsoring them, or because they're coming from homes where education would be their savior. So their parents have literally saved every penny along the way to put them into school, which people don't realize. People think it's all about being rich. No, it goes beyond that. So that's an interesting dichotomy that you deal with as a teacher. You always have to make sure that the grounds are fertile enough that your students realize that neither is better than the next one. That's the first point of call. Secondly, in a system like that, teachers are trained to understand that not everybody has the same learning abilities. So your students may be visual learners, some of them auditory learners, kinesthetics, they need some activity in the classroom. And that can be challenging because you have 25, 30 students in your class, but you need to teach almost as though you're teaching each and every one individually at the same time. So that was interesting. Lots of community service. Did a lot of projects with the kids. Some of my students built a school at a place called Apiorkor in the Volta region, 6 classroom block. And the amazing thing is they raised funds through a fun fair and seeking sponsorship to expand the school, to furnish it with books, whatnot. And they raised about 52,000 cedis, beyond their target of 25,000. And what did these kids do? They said, well, let's build on some more classrooms. Wow. And it's a project that's been passed down for the next 2 generations. So teaching was an amazing experience. But since that wasn't where I was supposed to be at that point in time, I did it for a while and I moved on.
Sounds like some pretty resourceful kids.
Let's
go back to something you said about some families had to put all their money together. Now, can you focus a little bit on, let's talk return on investment.
Right.
You put all this money together to put your child through a TIS education? What is it that that school was providing that makes it worth it?
Right. So for starters, any parent who is investing all of his or her savings in their child has definitely sat down to have an extensive conversation with his or her daughter and say, look, this is a family investment. It's for you to become a better person, to be better than I am or than I have been. But all the same, it comes back for the glory of the family and extensively your community and your country. So these kids come in knowing that a lot is expected of them, so they don't slack. That's one thing. Now secondly, in TIS, you have a very interpersonal relationship between the students and the teacher, so that the teacher acts as mentor, pseudo-parent, teacher as well, big brother, big sister, everything rolled up into one. So at any point in time, you're monitoring this child's progress. If you realize that the child moving from grade 9 to grade 10 is not really a strong physics student, you might want to advise the child and say, hey, you know what, maybe you want to drop physics and do something more history. You have that leeway, as opposed to your national system where you're a science student, you're stuck with it. So the students can shift around their subjects. So by the time they're getting to IB2, the final year, they have a fair idea of, yes, of what they're capable of. Not just in the classroom, because they could be doing art on the side, music. A lot of our students play musical instruments. They dance, they sing, they write, they act. I mean, the arts are not left out of anything. They paint. So by the time they're rounding up their studies at TIS, they know who they are, and they appreciate that. And they can stand firm and confident in knowing that they, you know, I'm person A or I'm person B. Now, having said that, because of the international system that we run, most of our students end up studying outside of the country. And our students know that if they follow through with the curriculum the way they're supposed to, they get involved in their community service, they go all out to make the grades, chances are they can get between 50 and 100% scholarships to a school in the States or in the UK. So we do have a lot of these kids whose parents have invested all their time, almost all their money, in bringing up these kids, and now they're on full scholarships in an MIT or Duke University or Nottingham University.
Is this fair to say that, I mean, and this sounds really good, but on the other hand, is it fair to say that you've contributed your quota to the brain drain in Ghana?
Well, you see, this is the thing. I also have a lot of students who have gone to school in Ghana. I mean, I started out in the States and I came back to Ghana myself. Okay. Now, why would I disagree with you? This is why. If you have a student who wants to study aeronautic engineering, how many of our schools in Ghana run such a program? And even if they do, on how extensive a scale? So now we tell our students, if you have the opportunity to study somewhere that will give you the mileage that you need to become the best aeronautic engineer you want to be, then by all means do. For a program like medicine, I always encourage my students to start out at Kolebu or Komfa Anoche if they can. Why? Because the rigor that the students go through is not the same rigor you get in an American medical school or a UK medical school. So a lot of